Welcome to CyberExplain channel. Today we are going to discuss IAM tools and automation, your guide to smarter access control. Hey there! Glad you could join me for another deep dive into the fascinating world of identity and access management. Today, we are shifting gears a bit. We've talked a lot about principles and processes, but how do we actually do all of this at scale? That's where the tools and automation come in. Think of it like building a house. You need a blueprint, or IAM strategy, but you also need the right power tools to get the job done efficiently and effectively. We are going to explore the types of tools out there, why automation is your best friend in IAM, and how to pick and integrate them so they actually work for you. So, what kind of tools are we talking about? It's a pretty broad spectrum, but for our purposes, we can group them into a few key categories. You've got your identity governance and administration, IGA, platforms. These are like the central command centers for managing identities, access requests, and ensuring compliance. Then there's privileged access management, PAM, which is super critical for controlling and monitoring those high-stakes accounts. We'll also touch on single sign-on, SSO, and multi-factor authentication, MFA, solutions, which are often building blocks, but understanding their role in the broader toolkit is crucial. Think of IGA as the brain of your IAM operation. It's not just about assigning access, it's about governing who gets what access, why and for how long all while keeping an audit trail. IGA platforms help with things like access requests, certifications, making sure people still need their access, and policy enforcement. They're designed to bring order to the chaos of managing identities across potentially hundreds of applications. For instance, when a new employee joins, IGA can orchestrate the creation of their accounts and grant them the baseline access needed for their role, all based on predefined policies. Now, PAM is where we get serious about protecting the crown jewels. These are the accounts that can do anything administrator accounts, service accounts, root access. If one of these gets compromised, it's game over. PAM solutions focus on securing, controlling, and monitoring these privileged sessions. This often involves just-in-time access, session recording, credential vaulting, and enforcing strict approval workflows for privileged actions. Imagine a database administrator needing temporary elevated access to perform a critical patch. PAM would grant that access for a limited time, record the entire session, and then automatically revoke the privileges. We've all experienced it, logging into one system and then being able to seamlessly access dozens of others without re-entering credentials. That's SSO in action. It's a huge win for user experience, reducing password fatigue and making users more productive. From an architecture perspective, SSO typically relies on protocols like SAML or OAuth to delegate authentication to a trusted identity provider, IDP. When you log into the IDP, it issues a token that other connected service providers, SPs, trust, granting you access. The key here is that the IDP becomes a critical security control point. SSO is great, but what if those central credentials get compromised? That's where MFA steps in. It's that second or third layer of security, something you know, password, something you have, phone, token, or something you are, biometric. Implementing MFA is one of the single most effective ways to prevent account takeovers. For example, a common scenario is a password plus an SMS code or a push notification to a mobile app. The never trust, always verify mantra is truly embodied by MFA. Let's be honest, managing user lifecycles, access requests, and reviews manually is a recipe for disaster. It's slow, error-prone, and just doesn't scale. Automation in IAM isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Think about onboarding a new employee. Manually creating accounts, assigning permissions across multiple systems, and ensuring they have the right access takes hours, if not days. Automated provisioning can do it in minutes, significantly boosting productivity and reducing the chances of errors or security gaps. It also frees up your IT team from tedious tasks to focus on more strategic initiatives. This is a prime candidate for automation. When someone joins, is transferred, or leaves, their access needs to be updated *immediately and *accurately *. Automated provisioning tools connect to your HR system, the source of truth, and trigger workflows. For a new hire, it creates accounts, assigns roles and entitlements. For a transfer, it revokes old access and grants new. For a termination, it ensures all access is promptly removed. Imagine the security risk if an ex-employee's account remains active, a huge gaping hole. Automating this process, often using connectors or APIs, is a non-negotiable for modern organizations. We've discussed how users accumulate access over time, and often it's set it and forget it. Access reviews and certifications are the antidote. Automation here means systems can periodically present a reviewer, usually a manager or data owner, with a list of who has access to what, highlighting any unusual or potentially excessive permissions. The reviewer can then quickly approve or deny access. Tools can flag exceptions for further investigation, dramatically cutting down the manual effort involved in these critical compliance tasks. Remember segregation of duties? It's that crucial principle preventing one person from having too much power. Automating sort checks means your IAM tools can flag potential conflicts before access is even granted. When a user requests access that, when combined with their existing permissions, creates a sort violation, like being able to create a vendor and approve payments to them, the system automatically flags it. This prevents risky combinations from ever materializing, turning a manual, often post-event, check into a proactive, automated control. So, how do you choose? It's not just about picking the fanciest software. You need to consider your organization's size, complexity, and specific needs. A small startup will have different requirements than a global enterprise. Think about your existing infrastructure. Are you heavily on-prem, all-in on cloud, or hybrid? What are your biggest pain points? Is it the sheer volume of access requests, the difficulty in auditing, or the risk of privileged account compromise? Your strategy should align with these factors. For smaller organizations, an all-in-one IGA solution might be overkill. You might start with robust SSO and MFA, perhaps a simpler provisioning tool. As you grow, you'll likely look at more integrated IGA platforms. For large enterprises with complex systems and stringent regulatory needs, a mature IGA solution, coupled with a strong PAM suite and perhaps specialized tools for identity analytics, becomes essential. It's about building a layered defense and management system that fits your environment, not forcing your environment to fit a tool. This is where the magic of integration happens. No IAM tool exists in a vacuum. To be effective, they need to talk to your HR systems, your applications, your directories, and each other. This is where application programming interfaces, APIs, and standard protocols like SCIM, System for Cross-Domain Identity Management, SAML, OAuth, and OpenID Connect shine. APIs allow different software systems to communicate and exchange data. For instance, an IGA tool might use SCIM to provision users into a SaaS application like Salesforce, or use SAML to enable SSO to that same application. SCIM is fantastic for automating user lifecycle management. Imagine you have a cloud HR system, and you want users provisioned into Slack, Workday, and your internal wiki. SCIM acts as a standard language. When an employee is hired in HR, it can signal the SCIM endpoint on Slack to create the user, on Workday to grant appropriate access, and on the wiki to onboard them. This protocol is designed specifically for this kind of cross-application identity management, making provisioning and deprovisioning much smoother and more reliable than custom scripting. SAML, Security Assertion Markup Language, is a powerful XML-based protocol for exchanging authentication and authorization data between parties, typically between an identity provider and a service provider. OAuth, Open Authorization, is more about delegated authorization, allowing an application to access resources on behalf of a user without exposing their credentials. When you see sign in with Google or login with Facebook, that's often OAuth or OpenID Connect, which builds on OAuth, at play. These protocols are fundamental to modern web and cloud application access. This is where IAM gets proactive, moving beyond just controlling access to *predicting and *preventing issues. Identity analytics tools analyze user behavior, access patterns, and logs. They look for anomalies, a user logging in from an unusual location at an odd hour, accessing files they never touch, or attempting multiple failed logins. By combining this with behavioral analysis, they can build profiles and detect deviations that might indicate a compromised account or an insider threat, often before any actual damage occurs. This is like having a security guard who not only checks IDs but also notices when someone is acting suspiciously. Insider threats are notoriously difficult to catch because, well, they're insiders. They have legitimate access, so traditional access controls don't always flag them. This is where behavioral analytics becomes invaluable. Imagine an employee who's just been passed over for a promotion. Suddenly, their activity spikes, they start downloading large amounts of sensitive data, accessing systems outside their normal work hours, or attempting to disable audit logs. An IAM tool with behavioral analysis can detect this shift from their baseline behavior and trigger an alert, giving security teams a chance to investigate before data is exfiltrated or systems are sabotaged. Let's paint a picture. Imagine SwiftCart, a rapidly growing e-commerce company. They started small, with manual access management, but now they're scaling fast, processing thousands of orders daily, onboarding new customer service reps, and expanding their marketing team. Their current manual processes are breaking. Requests are missed, ex-employees still have access, and they can't even keep up with authenticating customers for loyalty programs. They need a serious IAM overhaul, and fast. For SwiftCart, the priorities are clear: automate user provisioning for new hires, customer service, marketing, OPS, implement robust SSO and MFA for all internal users to protect their corporate resources, and set up automated access reviews for their internal tools. They also need to secure their customer data, meaning robust authentication for customer accounts and granular access controls for their backend support systems. A PAM solution might be necessary for their database administrators and cloud infrastructure engineers. SwiftCart decides to invest in an integrated identity governance and administration (IGA) platform. This platform will handle their internal user lifecycle management, automate access requests and approvals, and facilitate access certifications. They'll pair this with a strong SSO MFA solution, potentially from the same vendor or a complementary one, to secure access to their cloud applications like their CRM, ERP, and collaboration tools. For customer-facing applications, they might use a Customer Identity and Access Management (SCIM) solution that supports OAuth OpenID Connect for seamless, secure customer logins. Integration is key. SwiftCart's IGA platform needs to connect to their HR system, example, Workday, Bamboo HR, via APIs or SIM for automated provisioning. The SSO solution needs to integrate with their major SaaS apps, Salesforce, G Suite, Slack, using SAML or OpenID Connect. They'll also ensure their PAM solution can manage the credentials for their cloud infrastructure, AWS Azure, and core databases, likely using APIs or specific connectors. This interconnectivity is what makes the whole system function efficiently and securely. To combat evolving threats and insider risks, SwiftCart decides to enable identity analytics and behavioral monitoring within their chosen IAM suite. This means the system will start learning the normal behavior of their employees and even their customers. For example, if a customer service rep suddenly tries to access back-end financial systems, or if a marketing intern attempts to access production server logs, the system will flag this as anomalous. This proactive approach allows SwiftCart to investigate potential misuse or compromise before it escalates. Even with great tools, we need to be vigilant. What happens if an HR system is compromised and fake new hires are provisioned? Or if a service account credential is leaked? Attackers love targeting the weak points in the chain. They might try to exploit vulnerabilities in APIs, craft sophisticated phishing attacks to steal SSO credentials, or use compromised privileged accounts to move laterally. Understanding these attack vectors helps us configure our tools and policies to mitigate them effectively. Credential stuffing is a common attack where attackers use lists of leaked username-password combinations from previous breaches to try and gain access to other systems. If an organization relies solely on SSO without strong MFA, a single leaked credential could grant access to all connected applications. This is why MFA is so crucial, even with SSO. It's an extra lock on the door. Imagine a thief having your house key, password, but also needing your phone to unlock the door, MFA code. This is a classic. When someone leaves, if their accounts aren't deprovisioned immediately, that account becomes a liability. An attacker could potentially gain access through that dormant account. Conversely, if provisioning is too lenient, someone might get access they shouldn't. Think of a scenario where an ex-employee's account is disabled, but their access to a specific shared drive or cloud storage remains active because the deprovisioning process wasn't fully automated or thorough. This is a prime target for insider threats or external attackers who discover these lingering permissions. It's not just about attackers. Misconfigurations can also create massive vulnerabilities. An IGA tool might be configured to approve certain access requests without sufficient oversight. A PAM solution might have overly broad permissions itself. Or, the underlying systems used by these tools might have known vulnerabilities that attackers can exploit. Regular audits of tool configurations and vulnerability scans are essential. For example, an improperly configured API key for an IGA tool could allow an unauthorized party to manipulate access grants. What happens when the tools themselves fail? Imagine your SSO provider goes down suddenly, no one can access anything. Or your IGA system experiences a data corruption issue and access records become unreliable. These are critical failure modes. Redundancy, disaster recovery plans, and robust monitoring are key. For example, a highly available SSO architecture often involves multiple redundant identity providers to prevent a single point of failure. How do you know if your IAM tools themselves have been compromised? This is a fox guarding the henhouse scenario. Look for unusual activity within the IAM tools themselves, sudden changes in policies, mass access grants or revocations that weren't initiated by legitimate workflows, or signs of unauthorized logins to the IAM administrative interfaces. Identity analytics, when applied to the IAM system's own logs, can be incredibly effective here. Think of a security guard's logbook suddenly having pages ripped out. That's a red flag. When implementing these tools, start small and iterate. Don't try to automate everything on day one. Focus on the highest risk areas or biggest pain points first. Ensure clear ownership for each tool and process. Always involve your security teams, compliance officers, and end users in the design and testing phases. And critically, document everything: your configurations, your policies, your workflows. This documentation is gold for audits, troubleshooting, and future improvements. IAM tools aren't set it and forget it. As your organization evolves, so should your IAM configurations. New applications come online, roles change, threats evolve. You need a process for ongoing maintenance, regular tuning of policies, updates, and patching. Think of it like maintaining a complex vehicle. Regular oil changes, tire rotations, and tune-ups are essential to keep it running smoothly and reliably. This also includes regularly reviewing logs and alerts generated by your IAM tools to catch drifts or potential issues early. A common pitfall is IAM teams implementing tools without deep buy-in or understanding from the application owners. Application owners understand the business context of the access needed for their systems. They are critical for defining roles, approving access, and participating in access reviews. Collaboration is essential. IAM teams should educate application owners on the benefits of these tools and work with them to ensure the configurations meet both security and business requirements. This partnership is crucial for successful adoption. The IAM landscape is constantly shifting. We've moved from basic directory services to sophisticated IGA, PAM, and identity analytics platforms. Cloud-native IAM solutions are becoming more prevalent. The trend is towards more intelligence, more automation, and more seamless integration. Technologies like AI and machine learning are being embedded to provide predictive analytics and adaptive access controls. It's an exciting space, always pushing the boundaries of security and usability. To wrap up, remember that tools are enablers. They don't replace strategy or good governance, but they make implementing them vastly more effective. Choose tools that align with your organization's size, complexity, and risk appetite. Prioritize automation for efficiency and security, especially for provisioning and access reviews. Leverage APIs and standard protocols for seamless integration. And critically, never stop monitoring, auditing, and tuning your IAM toolset. It's a continuous journey to secure your digital assets. So, SwiftCart, by strategically selecting and integrating an IGA, SSO MFA, and SCIM solution, and by leveraging identity analytics, they've transformed their IAM. They can now onboard employees rapidly, secure their customer data effectively, reduce the risk of insider threats, and maintain compliance with far less manual overhead. This isn't just about technology, it's about enabling their business growth securely. Their journey highlights how the right tools, wisely implemented, are foundational to a robust security posture. That's a wrap on our discussion about IAM tools and automation. I hope this session has given you a clearer picture of the landscape, the benefits of automation, and how to approach selecting and implementing these critical technologies. Remember, it's an ongoing process, and the tools are there to support your overall IAM strategy. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep securing. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the CyberExplain channel. See you on the next video.